Alright, college boy. How's it going?
Yeah, you're right, Martin.
So how's Curtis?
I don't know, I ain't seen him.
Well, you didn't see him in the nick?
What do you mean?
Well, you were both arrested. Thought you might have had a chance to talk to him.
No. They charged Curtis with murder.
I'm joking.
Straight.
But we both know he didn't do it.
Yeah, I know, but they didn't have anything else on him.
But they didn't charge you.
Nah.
Funny that.
Well, trespassing.
What?
They charged me for trespassing on railway property.
So what you reckon, you're gonna get a 5 stretch for that?
Yeah, probably. But they didn't have any evidence on me, so...
But they had enough to charge Curtis.
I guess. I didn't snitch.
I ain't suggesting that you did.
I didn't.
Curtis is your blood. You don't snitch on your blood.
Exactly.
You don't snitch on anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what happens if you do?
Yeah.
If anyone snitched on me, I'd shank him. I wouldn't shoot him. Shooting's just for business. No. I'd want to look him in the eye. Make it nice and slow. I'd want him to understand why.
Yeah, but I mean, what if they did a deal with the police, like, and they moved them somewhere or like changed their identity?
Can't hide forever. Anyway, I'll go for the family.
Right.
Pact explores themes and issues around confidence between young people and the police, and how that communication so often can break down.
It was follow-on from Boy X, which was a follow-on from Stereo. It's part of a serial examination of what's been happening to sort of young people on the street. One of the big things that came out of Boy X was the question about who knew about the murder and whether the people that did know about the murder should give that information or could give that information or would give that information. That led to some very interesting debates with young people afterwards. And I think that was the kind of need to address the situation of young people's relationship with police and their values and willingness to give information to help to get justice in a serious crime.
Like, people who snake on people, like, they get picked on and, like, no one's their friend, like, because they have a bad reputation.
If you snake, yeah, something's going to happen to you.
The issue of snitching, and that's how it is perceived in some places, is a really difficult subject for both the police service, for the justice, the more wider justice system, and indeed more so for the people themselves that find themselves in that situation. For me, the best outcome entirely would be not to find themselves in that situation and try and move their life in a different direction. Sometimes it's unavoidable, I entirely accept that. I think all we can do in the police service is try and build up the best relationship possible to try and help that situation through.
You got him? Yeah! Right, you'll stay where you are now. You've got anything sharp on you.
No. What's this all about, man?
Why were you running?
Why'd you stop me?
We stopped because there's been a serious assault and we believe that you were involved in it.
It wasn't.
So why were you
It
running?
wasn't.
We saw you run through the arches, up the embankment and along the railway track.
It must have been someone else.
It's just very difficult. I think it's very difficult to be able to talk to police if they come up to you and they talk to you. I just think it's difficult.
I'm a London boy, I've grown up in London, so I've been stopped loads of times by police. And I say this to every police person, I understand you've got to deal with the bads, but we're not all like that, so please don't treat us all like that. Because I know you lot don't like being called pigs and being bullied and you'd be nothing without that badge and all that, because I know you don't like that.
It's a serious issue. It's not even front on that, it's a big issue. Yeah. And I think the discussions need to start, and with Pact and various other places with Arc Theatre, it is going to be centered around that discussion. Yeah. And it is going to provoke discussion and opinions, but that's the way of moving forward.
Communication is like, it's one of the most underrated things, man. If we all communicated better in the world, like not just police and crooks or whatever, but if we all communicated better in the world, there'd be less arguments, less babies, single parents, there'd be less wars, there'd be less murders, there'd be less everything, you know what I mean? Because it's a miscommunication.
Hey Ethan, You've admitted to running away from a crime scene where a young man, Nicholas Moretti, was stabbed and subsequently has died in hospital. You have also admitted the offence of trespassing on railway property. We would like to further interview you about the involvement into the murder of Mr. Moretti. Now, do you understand all of that? For the tape?
Yes, I understand that you want to interview me about the murder of Mr. Moretti.
We've obviously thought ourselves, what are we actually trying to achieve from our support to the programme? And I think the main and key thing for me is building up that relationship with youngsters, generally through sharing that really wonderful experience of the play, because it was very impactful. And I think I want youngsters to see the police service and police officers as human beings, because believe it or not, most of us are. And in fact, the vast majority of us are reasonable, decent people who want to engage with people in the community to try and help everybody get along together and do the best they can with their lives.
One of the things that the project allows us to do, Pact, is to create an environment where police officers and young people can actually speak to each other as human beings, share their experiences, share the stereotypes, come to understand what they could do better in those moments of engagement and contact.
I think the stop and search scene was stereotyped, and that's not how it was. Well, I'm telling you that is exactly how it is. That's what young people are telling me on a daily basis. The IPCC will report that the biggest amount of complaints that I have is incivility of police officers when they're carrying out interactions such as that. And if we could get that right, I think we'd have cracked the nut.
We need to start seeing people as individuals, all of us. And it is a two-way street, and for the young guys to have the confidence to know that they can challenge in a respectful and positive way, and that challenge will be met with openness and information rather than just seeing them as being lippy and difficult, is absolutely crucial.
The police, your job is to deal with the public. Yeah. That's your job. So personable skills are the biggest thing. And then a policeman coming up to you is very intimidating. It is. You being seen speaking to a policeman, like the connotations as well. I said it yesterday when we did a show. The police aren't going anywhere, and we're not going anywhere either. So it's like cheating on your partner. We've got to start going on dates and buying flowers and stuff. This is a date. Tonight this is a date, because the police and the public are here.
I think plays are invaluable, and it's one of the reasons I've been really keen to encourage forces around the country to use drama, whether it's by art theatre or by other groups, because theatre engages an emotional response. It's not a logical reason of why I should or why I shouldn't, not a kind of intellectual balancing of the odds, but it engages the gut. It actually gets an emotional response, and it reaches down into the core of what people really are and what their values are. And drama has a unique ability to do that.
The opportunity to engage with people after the play and use it as a vehicle to discuss the issues that are raised brings out some of the difficulties that I think we face as an organisation in the police, and that's how we train our staff to communicate with people.
What the police want to do, particularly around performances like Pact that we've seen tonight, is get the message across to communities that the police are there to protect them, we're there to help communities, we're there to work with communities, and we will do everything in our power to ensure that people who give information to the police will be protected and treated as best as possible.
Well, from a youth point of view, snitching is a thing where you say you can't snitch. Like you said, you can't snitch on your family, you can't snitch on people. Snitching is almost a taboo, even in some sense. So putting yourself in that situation, you think you either go down because you can't snitch. But the way it's been portrayed that there is a difficult situation. It's a complex thing which you need help and you need to discuss in order to think what is the right thing to do.
Yeah, that play was the first time that the British Transport Police have commissioned theatre as a way of engaging with the community. And I'm so glad that we did. It was a fantastic production. I think I'm prepared and really want to try and support future productions as I know that are being planned. And we really want to engage with the youngsters that sadly sometimes get themselves involved in this type of activity. So we will continue to support this programme. We're absolutely committed to it. It's a really innovative way, in my view, of bridging that gap between the police service and professionals in the justice system and the community themselves.
Even impacted in our lives because something happened recently, personally, and that we were like certain girls were gonna do, but because we remembered the play, we remembered the Joy Enterprise, and then that kind of discouraged us.